Melbourne City back in action after a 20-day wait due to the international break and the bye. And today it's Western Sydney Wanderers who come calling to Amy Park, a venue where they were beaten 7-0 by City in their last meeting here at the back end of 23-24. A game that included what is now a Puskas Award contender, of course, from Terry Antonis. Rather miserable wet conditions to greet the players. City have made a good start, perhaps flying under the radar a little on the back of 3 wins, 3 clean sheets, and just the solitary defeat which came here against Melbourne Victory, of course, in the derby. And while critics might point out that Victory are the only team they've yet played in the top 6, you can only beat what's in front of you, and City have done that. Wanderers, of course, another team in the bottom half of the table, having lost their own derby last weekend. Their 4-1 win over Newcastle the previous week, their only win so far this season. And they haven't beaten City here at Amy Park since November 2015. The goal scorers that day, Mitch Nichols, Federico Piovaccardi and Mark Bridge, which shows you just how long ago that was. Still, they did beat Victory 4-3 here on their last trip to Amy Park. And despite being in the bottom half, they are the A-League's top scorers. So we could get some entertainment this afternoon. The team news: City make one change from the side that started against Perth almost 3 weeks ago now. That's the return of Aziz Bayic after serving his ban. Nathaniel Atkinson moves further forward. Harry Politidis drops down to the bench. The injury list is long. Naboot, Caputo, Lapane, Tilio and Lekiu suffered a minor hamstring strain during the week, are all missing. So 17-year-old Medin Mehmeti again leads the attack after scoring his first goal against Perth. Jimmy Jago on the bench. He hasn't featured since being sent off against Newcastle in round 1. 2 changes for the Wanderers. Jong Tae-wook is suffering with an ankle injury, so Anthony Pantazopoulos moves into the centre of defence alongside Alex Bonatic. Jack Clisby returns at left back, and Josh Brillante returns after missing the derby with injury. Oscar Priestman drops down to the bench. Zach Sapsford looks to score in a 3rd consecutive A-League match. Juan Mata again among the substitutes. In that 4-3 win for the Wanderers against Victory. Tricky conditions then for the players. Last season these two scrapped it out for the finals position. The last finals position, I should say, with City coming out on top. A little bit less at stake today, Daniel McBreen, but should be an interesting contest, and the weather might have a say as well.
Well, good afternoon, Simon. You're right, that rain is coming down quite heavily. It'll be interesting to see how Melbourne City, with the long layoff, really get into this game at the start. Will it be a sluggish start? I'm sure they've spoken ad nauseum about that. Western Sydney, off the back of a derby defeat, really wanting to get some momentum to move up that table.
Wanderers immediately trying to close down Patrick Beach whenever the ball is played back to him. It was a tactic that worked well for Melbourne victory during the derby, but he is pretty adept with the feet. Patrick Beach continuing in place of Jamie Young in goal. Turned back by Zane Schreiber. He will play alongside Steven Ugarkovic in midfield, but Ugarkovic no doubt will get a little more licence to go forward. He used that to good effect against Perth Glory, where he scored a brace.
Well, he's the equal top scorer for his club at the moment. I don't think he gets to say that too often.
Ball over the top from Kai Truen is a beauty. And this is Andreas Kuhn, the Austrian, with the cutback chance for Cohen. And he fluffed his lines, might get a second go at it. And Bonatic makes the block. City will get a corner. 2 bites at the cherry for Jonathan Cohen.
Well, I'm not sure if Steven Ugarkovic might have been in the better position here. Look, he's running onto it. Jonathan Cohen's coming across the ball, striking across the line. I think it might have been better to let that fall into the path of Ugarkovic, who was stepping straight onto it, facing the goal.
Well, Cohen earned the corner and will take it. Cyprian and Truen have made their way up from the back. Cyprian at the near post, and there he was to head it on across the face of goal. Somehow Thomas keeps it out. Unbelievable. How did the Wanderers survive that? Just poured away by Lawrence Thomas, back in by Ugarkovic. And now they can breathe, the red and black.
Oh, what about that sequence? How does this not end up in the back of the net? It's a Cyprian at the front post with the head up. And on the stretch, you think the ball's going in. I'm not sure Lawrence Thomas knew too much about that. He was on the deck. Does well there. Here, I think it just hits him on the shoulder. And then Gabriel Kleur finally clears the ball away. Scary moment. Alan Stagic's team there.
Well, 2 warnings in the space of 60 seconds for Western Sydney Wanderers. Now they get the chance perhaps to move forward. It's Brandon Borello on the ball. And threads it through nicely. Wide left is Bozidar Kraev. Borello. Rather tame shot in the end. And already this game has all the ingredients of being an end-to-end contest.
Well, we've had 5 shots and we're not even 4 minutes into the game. Great start. I hope it continues on that vein.
Beach again being closed down quickly by Borello. Very much a part of Brandon Borello's game, isn't it? He covers every blade of grass.
Well, he definitely leads from the front. His energy and enthusiasm sets his team going forward.
City going forward here. Off the head of Cohen, but not very accurately. Picked up by Kraev. Turned back by Shikluna. And all the way back to Lawrence Thomas. Touched by Kleur. Brillante. Shikluna. Western Sydney Wanderers have won just one of the last 11 meetings against Melbourne City. That was a 1-0 home win in January of this year. There's a bit of space here for Gabriel Kleur to advance into. 3 in red and black beyond him. He can't find any of them. One back by Shikluna. Kleur. A little bit forced by the Wanderers, and Talbot gets it out of harm's way for now. We often talk about the weather. Macca, when it rains, is being in negative terms, but I guess for the players in some ways, it's nice and cool. There's a bit of zip on the surface. They won't mind it.
No, as a player, unless it's accompanied with a howling wind or something along like that. It's a bit of drizzle, bit of rain. It's nice, as you say. Helps the ball zip around on the pitch, can move it around quickly. Helps you unlock a defence, really. And the occasional slide tackle as well. Always fun.
Old school, Macca. Thomas going long. Beautifully controlled by Borrello. He's given Jack Clisby an option. Maybe just delayed a fraction too long. Jack Clisby. Cohen through the legs of Milanovic. And back by Mehmeti. And here's Talbot. Schreiber. Bajic. Too far in front of Andreas Kuhn. Clisby. Truan. Dummy didn't quite pay off for Cohen. Atkinson. Talbot. Cross took a little deflection. And there's just a half shout for a handball against Gabriel Clerc. Nothing more than that. Now Clisby with room to advance into. Brillante. Scicluna. Bonneting. Scicluna once again, the high defensive line from Melbourne City. And pretty effective in squeezing the pitch.
Scicluna just underhit it a little, didn't he? A little bit more air on that and it could have been a promising situation.
Truan looking for the diagonal switch. Didn't quite have the radar switched on. Just the 3 goals conceded by Melbourne City so far this season. They all came in the first half of that derby against Victory. Otherwise, it's been clean sheets all round. But Milanovic can have a go from halfway, looking to release his inner Terry Antonis.
I don't mind that. It shows great awareness. The attacking player should always know where the opposition defenders and goalkeeper position themselves. In this day and age, they're so high, goalkeepers looking to be sweepers or join in the play when they have the ball. You can quite often get caught in no man's land.
Something about this ground and that end of the field in particular that seems prone to that sort of goal as well. Not just Antonis, but of course many years ago, Orlando Engelart. By the way, intriguingly, of Melbourne City's goal scorers in that 7-0 win against the Wanderers last season, only Max Caputo remains with the club, and he's out injured at the moment. All the others have gone.
Wouldn't be the A-League with lots of ins and outs, would it, Simon?
They've lost quite a bit of firepower during the off-season. Melbourne City, Tolgay Arslan, of course, Jamie McLaren, Leo Natel, Terry Antonis. They were their 4 top scorers last season.
I spoke with Jamie McLaren this morning. He said he's enjoying his time in India.
Going all right as well, aren't they? Top of the league, I think.
Yeah, scoring goals and enjoying his time. Sometimes a change is as good as a holiday, isn't it?
Playing for one of the big clubs, of course, in India as well, Mohan Bagan. So they had 70,000 for their local derby with East Bengal.
Not bad.
Here's Truan. Talbot. Into the path of Cohen. And a throw off Brillante. Talbot. It's a bit too hot for Kuhn to handle. If you are just catching up with A-League matters today, by the way, I can tell you that Auckland have won again and kept another clean sheet. 5 in a row. I think they're only one away, is it now, from the record?
I think they might be the all-time A-League record. I was informed that 5 matches in about 55 minutes or so that the Mariners went without conceding. I think it's a record for from the start of the season already. Good things happening across the ditch.
Melbourne City with the chance to be their closest challengers if they can win here this afternoon. They can move up into second spot, at least temporarily.
There was another run from Zach Sapsford, high line from Melbourne City. Again, the pass this time a little under hit last time. But they're just trying to test that Melbourne City high line and the spacing behind.
Andreas Kuhn. Throw in for the home team, which the returning captain Aziz Behich will take. Available once more after missing 2 matches. After the little stamp in the Melbourne derby that went unpunished during the game, but not by the match review panel.
You don't get away with much these days, do you? Too many cameras.
Suprayan. It's a lovely crossfield ball. Look at the space here for Cohen. Trying to bend it. Not a bad try.
Well, you can see Jack Clisby there was just talking to his teammates saying, well, someone has to come across and fill my space so I can go out and press the ball. It was acres of space to drive into. Just couldn't quite get the bend on that far post, but I'm sure Jonathan Cohen was wondering, where's the defenders?
Kai Truitt guilty of the foul. Bonatic. He and Pantazopoulos have played keep ball. But we're moving backwards rather than the right way. Still, Melbourne City forcing them back. Bonatic finally finds an option in Josh Brillante. They can play through that initial press. Clisby. Shakluda. Forward by Brillante. Behich there ahead of Borrello. And there's just a little bit too much contact from the attacker. Brandon Borello doesn't think so.
You just knew he was going to be bemused, didn't you? You see there, just the arm around, little nudge. There's his Bates. Thinks, well, that'll do me. That's enough for me.
There's not an awful lot in it, but enough for the free kick.
That's what you call experience.
Good climb by Pantazopoulos and by Kraev. The ball breaks City's way. Talbot, Cohen. That's a really good stretch by Shikluda. Tackle from behind was probably illegal by Cyprian, but a good advantage played by Jonathan Barrero. Sapsford looks wide right, where Gabriel Clerc is stationed. And that's a pretty good outcome for the Wanderers. Corner.
It was nice play. You could also see him as Milanovic went for the ball. Gabriel Clerc just gave him a little shout. Said, I'm running onto it, out the way.
Well, we mentioned that the Wanderers are the A-League's top scorers so far this season, with 11. 2 of them have come via the aerial routes, which is the best of any team in the competition. And it is Clisby who puts it in the air, and Beach who makes the punch. Shikluda. Clisby. Borello looking to pick it up at the back post. Kraev. Borello again. Pantazopoulos is still forward from the corner. I'm not quite sure what that was.
Well, I think that was a shot. Got it all wrong.
One of the informed players, though, in the Isuzu UTE A-League men's competition, Nick Milanovic. Joint top scorer with Marian Yakulish of MacArthur. Even top scorers can't get everything right.
No, they can't. He's got himself a couple of assists this season as well, continuing the rich vein of form he had last year.
By the way, including an absolute peach of an assist for Zach Sapsford's goal against Sydney last week.
Yeah, beautiful ball, wasn't it? Perfectly weighted.
It's probably a fair reflection of how things have gone so far. Melbourne City with most of the better attacking play.
It's been a patient approach from Western Sydney. Happy to draw Melbourne City out, try to find the space in between. Pass goes astray on that occasion. And they're happy to get the ball back to their centre-backs, draw out those pressing Melbourne City players and look for spaces in between.
Talbot's throw, but Clisby's intervention. Volante's been robbed of the ball. Kuhn is maybe just being held a little there. Advantage played, and City are back on the ball. Bajic to drive forward. Atkinson outside him. Looking for the cross. It wasn't a bad one either, and Bonatic was there for the Wanderers. Still there for Bajic.
Well, it was a decent cross, wasn't it, to the back post.
Sapsford. First time, perhaps could have taken a touch. Bonatic. The Wanderers starting the weekend in 10th position. Just 4 points from 5 matches. They can move up to 7th today if they were able to end their 9-year wait for a win against City at Amy Park. Pantazopoulos going the direct route, returned with interest by Kai Truitt. And Bonatic cool under pressure. Milanovic. That's a useful release for Clisby. Nobody at the back post though for the red and black. Supri had to put his boot through it. One back by Pantazopoulos. Cushion header from Kraev. Now Shikluda. And Clisby. Right, Macca, very patient, very precise at times from the Wanderers.
Yeah, I think there's occasions they can move that ball quicker into midfield. Got the quality there. There we go, simple first touch football, and there we have it.
And now they've got an attack brewing through Kraev. It's a bit of a miscue off the right foot of Clisby, who's then fouled his opponent.
Well, I just think at times too, midfielders are inclined to take a touch backwards when they receive, when they do have the opportunity, at least get on the half turn, look forward. It's a little too safe at times. You want someone to be a little bit adventurous and think, well, do you know what? I'm going to draw another midfielder out and try and play around the corner and go and combine.
A question, is that what pressure does perhaps to players? And let's be honest, the Wanderers have not had a great start to the season.
Well, it can do, yeah. You know, it's a confidence game. Yeah, if you're high on confidence, you can think, well, there's a few metres between me and the opposition. I back myself to turn and at least get a ball away. When that confidence is low, things haven't gone your way. Sometimes you think, well, maybe just play it a bit safe, don't make mistakes in silly areas. This man's got plenty of experience.
He being Josh Brillante, pings it out towards Clisby near touchline.
Well, I reckon that's about the 5th time we've seen Jack Clisby in a relatively advanced position down that left-hand side, look at the passes and then not play it. And you think, well, just play it the first time.
Rather aimless ball from Shikluda. And interesting just in that last little sequence, Macca, to pick up on your point. Normally it's been the 2 centre-backs who've been trying to play through the press, and Josh Brillante just dropping a bit deeper with his range of passing to give them a different option.
Yeah, and he can pick a pass, can't he? Short or long. Maybe he thought, well, if you're not going to do it, I'll get in there and do it straight away. Drops it on a dime for Clisby.
See if that pattern continues. Schreiber driving it crossfield and a little too high for Cohen. Zane Schreiber, former Sydney FC junior. Clisby, a little heavy off the chest. Loose ball picked up by Brillante though. Borello. Turns away from Cohen. Not once but twice. Clisby. Brillante. It's a little bit short for Sapsford, and Schreiber was reaching for it. Committed the foul.
Well, he did well, Sapsford, there to get his body across.
So a good situation this for Western Sydney Wanderers. They've got some aerial threat in there as well. Clisby's delivery came off Bozidar Krajev's head, I think. Pantazopoulos maybe just picking up a whack to the jaw in the process.
No out, no out.
We are approaching the half-hour mark. Point of the game after which, so far this season, Melbourne City haven't conceded at all. Little moments of panic there as Borrello went down in the penalty box, but no real shouts for a penalty. It's going to be a free kick, though, the foul by Bonetic. Brandon Borrello maybe just jogging past the referee to just say, are you sure about that?
Just posing the question. Bonetic a little bit late on his challenge as well.
Truin, Supriya, Bajic. Supriya again. Found the little gap for Kuhn. Atkinson drives it towards goal, blocked by Pantazopoulos. And the Wanderers able to play through, maybe launch a counter here. Krajev leading the charge. City quick to get back goal side, and again the transition was a little slow from the Wanderers.
Well, that was such a highlight of Bozidar Krajev's game last year, wasn't it, for Wellington? Bursting forward, holding the play up under pressure and allowing his teammates to join him. Haven't seen too much of that.
First time ball by Kleur was a good one. Borrello. I think that was a shot, you know, from Milanovic. Not quite as far out as his first one, but not far off. First quarter of an hour, Macca, saw a few attempts on goal by City. They've been a bit quiet since. Wanderers have seen a fair bit more of the ball, but not really created anything at the other end. Garkovic getting forward into an advanced position, which he loves to do. That's a foul by Talbot.
No, City had, what, 4 shots in the first 3 minutes. It's been pretty quiet since then. Western Sydney with more of the possession. You see coming down the left there, we've seen Jack Clisby get forward on a number of occasions, and it just turns back out and comes back towards that back line again.
Turned out wide by Kuhn. He then turns the ball over. Krajev got into a right mess there. Bozidar Krajev, helped out by Shikluda.
Oh, we've said it for Western Sydney as well. Andreas Kuhn was in a really good position when he just bounced that ball out wide to turn and just drive at the back line. Try to move that Western Sydney defence, but just bounces it wide and looks to get it back. But I think if he's on the half turn and he just turns and goes and drives at the defenders, something may happen. It's all a little safe for me for both teams at the moment.
Half an hour played. Shikluda moving the ball wide. Kleur. Milanovic. That's a better ball. Sapsford. Here's Borello. Still there for Borello, and Sapsford snatched at the chance. But better from the Wanderers.
Well, it was a little scrappy, as we see. The Melbourne City.
3 Socceroos.
Yeah, they'd all wish they're out there. I think coaching staff and fans would think they're out there too. Maybe just saw themselves on the camera.
Messrs Lecky, Naboot and Tilio all out injured at the moment. You can add young Max Caputo to that as well. The youngsters really stepped up against Perth Glory. Medin Mehmeti in particular. Jonathan Barreira's going to stop play here. Nicholas Milanovic was caught by the stray boot and is going to need some attention. Mehmeti just stretching and connecting with the opponent. So Aurelio Vidmar said of this young man pre-game that really they're asking a lot of him to step up to the plate in the absence of those senior Socceroos. He's only 17, he's only played 12 games in the NPL. Was a regular goal scorer at junior level, scored 28 goals in 10 games a couple of years ago for the Dandy Thunder at under 14 level. This is a different level, of course. Nicholas Milanovic is going to run that one off.
Well, it's a fair bit of firepower that Melbourne City we saw missing there, and Caputo as well.
Nicholas Milanovic back at a ground where he's had a fair bit of success in the past. Scored 4 times at Amy Park. Of course, began his career with Western United. This ground will be the venue again tomorrow for Western's home game against Melbourne Victory on police and APL instruction. Still a game to come tonight, of course, between Macarthur and Brisbane. As for this game, a rather tepid affair so far. We thought after the first 5 minutes or so, Maka, we were going to get goals aplenty. They may still arrive, of course.
There hasn't been much urgency in the opening half an hour, has there? Very cagey affair. Both teams trying to move the ball about, create some openings. So when they get in the half opportunities, it's more of a safety first approach.
Kai Truin. Supriyan. Atkinson. Looking to lift the ball over. Clisby at the back post for the Wanderers. Helped further away by Kraev. City throw. I guess as the coach of the away team, Alan Stajic is within his rights to be perhaps a little happier than Aurelio Vidmar. Or do you disagree with that, Maka?
Look, I think he'd rather his team be a little bit more energetic, trying to press the issue a little. I guess being away, you're right. But they've had more possession. They seem to get into those half positions, and then we see this, it comes back again. Get the matrix out and see how many passes have been between Bonatig and Pansopoulos.
Yeah, that's why the completed passes stat should always be viewed with a little suspicion. Wanderers could be in here though. Near post, and it strikes the upright off the boot of Nicholas Milanovic. That's as close as we've come at either end. Much more positive from the red and black. Milanovic was strong enough to hold off Bajic.
We almost caught Patrick Beach napping there, didn't he? I think we all thought he may have laid the ball square, but decided with the strike on the near post area. And I'm not sure if Beach was getting there, if that was just inside the post.
Truin. Cohen. Touched by Mehmeti. Worked wide by Schreiber. Atkinson. Kuhn. Drifting away from his man, the Austrian, cutting it back, and Nathaniel Atkinson couldn't hit the target. Well, the last 2 minutes have produced good chances for both teams.
Well, this was neat play here, rolling his defender, but then, look, the eyes looks like he's going square, but cuts it back, and that's a glorious opportunity for Nathaniel Atkinson. Really should hit the target there, and he knows it. Yeah. Beautiful play from Kern.
Now the warm ball won back briefly high up the park for City, but gets away from Atkinson, who last scored in Melbourne City colours in December 2021, a game against Perth Glory. The club he and Andrew Naboot very nearly signed for the year before, if you remember back. COVID's put paid to that. Borello. Just didn't quite have the weight to get through for Clerc, who was then dragging Aziz Bajic back.
I think Gabriel Clerc just said, Aziz, come on, that's easy. Going down too easy. Well, that's all it takes. A little tug on the arm and down he went again.
Well, the game has certainly sparked to life the last couple of minutes. Chance for Nicholas Milanovic at one end that grazed the post, and then Nathaniel Atkinson at the other end. And it needed that. There'd been a long lull in the game in terms of goal-scoring opportunities. Might be another one brewing here. Clisby, it's a really good ball. Oh, Brendan Borello really should have put the Wanderers 1-0 up. What a terrific pass from Jack Clisby.
Well, it was great play right back from the midfield. A little bounce up, back and through, and then wonderful pass from Jack Clisby. And I think maybe if that were gone in, VAR may have got involved. I'm not sure if Borello had just drifted into an offside position, but it was a wonderful weighted pass. And as we said at the other end with Nathaniel Atkinson, Brendan Borello should have done better.
City's attempts to play out from the back have come unstuck. Pantazopoulos. We should really expect goals today. Melbourne City have scored in each of their last 10. The Wanderers have scored in each of their last 11 since that 7-0 capitulation here to City last season. Just the one shot on target for either side so far. Here's Kuhn. Atkinson. Partly out by Clisby. Cohen. That's a handy little ball. Ugarkovic, and spilled by Thomas. Still not completely clear for Western Sydney Wanderers. Should be now. Just a slight moment of panic.
We saw a neat bit of play from Andres Kuhn earlier, and then a nice little reverse pass there from Jonathan Cohen.
Bonatic putting his boot through it, and Kryev is after it and has got there. And it needed that little intervention from Kai Truitt. City almost getting caught out there by the direct route.
Kai Truitt's not too happy about it. Bonatic Kryev was a great run, and his header just took the ball a little central, and that allowed Kai Truitt to get back in. I think maybe if he heads that a little straight to his left foot, he can get his body across and maybe protect it a little.
Kryev and Kuhn in direct opposition. Bulgaria against Austria. Milanovic whips it in low. All the way back for Kleur. Brillante. Milanovic. Oh, now collision inside the box. Milanovic and Talbot, and Jonathan Barrero says penalty. Talbot just seemed to stand his ground, and Milanovic careered into him. And the referee points to the spot.
Great direct play from Milanovic there. You see, cuts back inside. And as he does that, Talbot tries to reach for the ball and really steps across the line. I don't think there's any question whatsoever in that. The direct play.
It's a penalty.
Yeah. And Callum Talbot's the one who's come out worse for wear.
Well, he's earned the penalty, Nicholas Milanovic. Is he going to take it? They are just checking for offside here. Maybe in the earlier phase of play. The penalty is confirmed. There's his previous two spot kicks. One right, one left. All on Patrick Beach for Melbourne City with half-time approaching. And Milanovic sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. It's his 5th goal of the campaign as he takes the lead in the Golden Boot race and puts the Wanderers 1-0 up at AAMI Park.
Well, he won the penalty with a direct run, swivelling one way and the other, as we see on the Harvey Norman replay. Callum Talbot just steps across him, and then it's an expertly taken penalty. Little stutter step, sends Beach the wrong way and tucks it away for a 1-0 lead for the Wanderers.
Clinically dispatched. Isn't he having a start to the season to remember?
There
we go. Nicholas Milanovic out in front. Says Jaklic has got 3 there. Pretty sure he's got 4. But anyway, Milanovic is out in front. And Melbourne City have got a problem.
Well, we were talking about players not really being aggressive and proactive. Well, Milos Milanovic just took it upon himself. Direct run, jinked one way and the other and drew the foul.
Collision between Kleur and Cypriot, which has left the Frenchman writhing in pain on the floor. It's a sore one. Here's another look at it. Oh, he's raked, accidentally I must say, but raked the studs down the shin of Cypriot. That's a painful one.
Yeah, it does not tickle.
That'll throb tonight. Oh, now more coming together. And Milanovic on Atkinson. I think he's caught him in a place where you don't want to be caught. And there's a card coming out here to yellow. I just wonder whether they might have a closer look at this. See whether there's any intent or not. He's certainly caught him. Here we go.
Let's have a look here. It's a stud straight to the rib cage.
Yeah, it's high.
Now,
I don't think it's intentional, but can still be viewed as dangerous or reckless play. The word from the officials is that the force wasn't perhaps great enough to warrant any more serious action.
tell that to Nathaniel Atkinson, who's got the stud marks on his rib cage.
Thought it was a bit lower than that at first glance. Oh, now the shot here from the edge of the box by Kai Truitt was expertly dealt with by Pantazopoulos. Not just the block, but to sort his feet out quickly as well and get the ball out for a corner.
He did well. It was the reaction. City player right behind him.
This might be the last action of the first half. Down to the 4th minute of additional time. There's all sorts going on in that 6-yard box, which is very crowded. Ahead of Cohen's delivery to the near post, pushed away by Thomas. Almost as the ball was about to cross the line. He gets the high fives from his teammates. At half-time, Callum Talbot's foul on Nicholas Milanovic is the key moment. Milanovic picking himself up to score from the penalty spot. He later picked up the game's only yellow card so far for a foul on Nathaniel Atkinson, but that score sheet makes for happy reading for Alan Stajic at the break. It's Melbourne City 0, Western Sydney Wanderers 1. We're off to a break too. On the other side of it, join Tara, Alex Brosk and Roy O'Donovan for their thoughts on the first 45. Don't go away.
Any spectator identified with a prohibited item or assessors are duly intoxicated may be refused entry if convicted from this state, potentially banned from attending future matches and handling only 2 police from further questioning. City fans, we ask you to respect your fellow spectators today by refraining from illegal and The AB's Professional Footballers Australia and Football Coaches Australia are taking a stand against online bullying in Australian football. There is no place for racism, abuse or hating our sport. Play fair. Flags are illegal and using to possess a full flags and techniques that apply. Any spectator identified with a prohibited item may refuse entry, evicted from the stadium, potentially banned from attending future matches and handed over to police for further questioning. A financial fine may also be issued. We are committed to providing a safe and enjoyable environment for all fans and ask you to respect your fellow spectators by refraining from illegal and dangerous activity. It is an offence for any spectator to enter the field of play or labouring without authorisation. Any spectator that enters the field of play without authorisation will be evicted from the stadium, potentially banned from attending future matches and handed over to police for further questioning. A fine may also be issued. The APL is committed to providing a safe and enjoyable environment for everyone. We ask you to respect the players and match officials by remaining in season long.
is brought to you by Isuzu UTE. The winner of the prestigious award will win their choice of a brand new top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max or 7-seat MUX. Plus, the Isuzu UTE Alex Tobin medalist will nominate a junior football club to win $10,000. Make sure you're watching this season's grand final when the winning player and club will be revealed.
Stadium like this one. That's okay. We might come back to it tomorrow. What do you think? You're the business this year. What's it like to be? I mean, we can see the grass here. It is absolutely amazing, isn't it?
It's very slippery without the boots.
Without the boots, have you fallen over yet? Don't get hit by it. Alright, you've fallen over a couple of times. Tomorrow, have you had any stacks today? Have you fallen over yet?
Yes.
How many times?
Like
5 or 4 times tomorrow, so you guys can get back to play. You go to the game. 20 years together for this Magnus half-time. Heroes are absolutely awesome. Let's watch the action. Thank you so much for being part of that day. We need plenty of energy in this second half of the in the stands here at Amy Park. Please welcome the boys in City Blue back out onto the pitch for the second half. Let's make some noise. Come on, City fans.
All set to go for the second half at Amy Park. Nicholas Milanovic's penalty in first half stoppage time, the difference between the two teams. He now leads the Golden Boot race. And there's a couple of famous faces. Fahid Ben Khalfallah, ex-Melbourne Victory, Brisbane Roar on the left, and Rashid Mahazi, formerly Melbourne Victory, sat alongside him. Fahid Ben Khalfallah now very much involved in the agent side of the game, and involved in a little bit of war of words with Alan Stajic during the week, and he's the reason why. Juan Mata again on the bench today. I wonder if we'll see him at some point in the second half. But as far as the Wanderers, 9 years since they last beat City at Amy Park, but they've got a big chance here. Melbourne City's home record, Danny McBreen, is good. Only Melbourne Victory have beaten them in a home match at Amy Park since January of this year. The last team before that, strangely enough, the Wanderers, their only win in 11 meetings. And again by a 1-0 scoreline, which is what we have at the moment.
Well, we want to see a few more moments of electricity, excitement. We saw one or two in the first half that resulted in good chances. And hopefully there's a little bit more urgency in this second half.
All that playing out from the back, very nearly catching Melbourne City out, but good adjustment by Zane Schreiber. Reminder of the teams today. Start of play, just the one change for City. Aziz Bayic in with Harry Politidis dropping down to the bench. And a couple of changes for the Wanderers. Jongtae Wook out with injury. Jack Clisby back in the team, and Josh Brillante back into midfield with Oscar Priestman dropping to the pine. Bayic looking for the return ball from Kuhn. I guess from Aurelio Vidmar's point of view, Macca, he'll have been stressing a little bit more energy, a bit more urgency from his charges. They made a decent start to the game, first 10 of 15. It dropped off a little bit after that.
Well, they did, and they gave up a lot of possession to Western Sydney. Opening 3 or 4 minutes, we thought, here we go.
Andreas Kuhn, who got his first goal in that 5-0 win over Perth Glory last time out. And Vinny did hint at the fact that he was a bit concerned about the rustiness. Is that part of the reason so far today, after that 20-day break?
Well, definitely could be. It's hard to replicate matches internally, the intensity.
Talbot shut down by Kryev. Just the Wanderers' third game on the road so far this season. They've drawn one and lost one, with their point coming at Western United. Lost in the derby, of course, last week. This is Nathaniel Atkinson drifting inside. Talbot Ugarkovic wanting Talbot to continue the run. It's quite inventive by Brillante. Bajic. Back by Talbot. Truin. It's a nice touch by Cohen, and he's got the return as well. Atkinson. Does well. Great use of the body. City building nicely here. It's Kuhn across the face. Oh, Mehmeti just not able to quite apply the finishing touch. Good move though by the home side.
Well started by Nathaniel Atkinson. A direct run and a good ball forward before the ball found itself. Andreas Kuhn just slid it across the goal. Unfortunately, no one there to get on the end of it.
Foul on Atkinson by Clerk. Early ball played forwards. Mehmeti waiting for any mistake from the Wanderers' defence. Cyprian. Schreiber. And Truin. Atkinson. Across the back post, which just glanced off the head of Jack Lisby. Melbourne City corner.
Well, not bad from that man again. Nathaniel Atkinson. A little step over and a curling pass into that back post area.
Crossed arm signal from Jonathan Cohen. And there's a whole bunch of players at the near post. That's the area it goes in, but Bonatic gets it back out wide. Cohen again. And Cyprian. Always odds against keeping that ball in play. Jonathan Cohen, by the way, comes from a very good footballing family back in his native Israel. His dad, Mickey, a former Israeli international, as is the son. 8 caps for his country. And a winner of 3 Israeli Premier League titles as well. He stays with Maccabi Tel Aviv. Schreiber. Atkinson. Rather aimless from Nathaniel Atkinson. Sapsford. Knocked up in the air by Schreiber. One by Kraev. Drops for Sapsford, but he was leaning into Kai Truitt. The mass man. He's been wearing that for a while, hasn't he, Zach Sapsford? I wonder if that's going to be a permanent feature.
For life.
Well, worked for Peter Cech.
Well, yeah. Not sure. It hasn't affected him really, has it?
Not the last couple of games.
No.
He's scored in both.
Maybe it's his good luck charm now and he wants to keep it.
Pantazopoulos irritated by the fact he's been pinged for a foul there. Did look as though he caught Kuhn. Replay will be instructive. Yeah, a bit soft.
Yeah, I agree.
Deep breaths, Anthony. Deep breaths. Don't say anything you might regret.
Oh, serenity now.
Just counting to 10, wasn't he? Bajic going square. Ugarkovic to float it. Nobody there for City. Bajic. City just looking for a little bit of inspiration. Missing some of their big name players, as we mentioned in the first half. Maybe Cohen can provide here. Left it a bit short of Talbot.
Well, that's the kind of position he needs to be getting in. Just in the inside pocket in the 10 position there and facing forward. A little bit off with the pass there, but City needs someone to step up and really take this game by the scruff of the neck.
Atkinson. Out for a throw off Kleur. And the flag's come off the corner pole, so that's going to have to be repaired. Bajic try as he might, couldn't keep that one in play. Little groan of frustration from the Socceroos fullback. Not a whole lot of experience on the bench really for Melbourne City. As for the Wanderers, of course, they've got Juan Mata and Marcus Antonsen. And indeed Aidan Hammond, should they require them. Jimmy Jago and German Ferreira providing the experience on the City bench, but no more defensively minded players. Other than that, really, Macca, it's the kids. Suleimani, Politidis, Dunbar and Romani.
Yeah. It's a very youthful looking bench. It just underlines how important and how many experienced players that they have got out in the attacking third.
Bajic. Kuhn continued the run. Is this the moment for City? And back post, Clisby there. Not quite out just yet for the Wanderers. Kuhn. Bajic. Well, he had to hit it with a certain amount of power. Back in by Talbot. Over the head of Mehmeti. Wanderers appealing for a foul on their player. Atkinson. Given away. Shakluda. Careering into Zane Schreiber. It's going to be a City free kick. Side just starting to build a little momentum here. Kuhn trying to wriggle clear of Kleur. Well, it looks as though it might have been a foul, but play goes on. Atkinson with the centre. It pops out for Cyprien. Sustained little spell here for City. It's a Wanderers throw. Pressure relieved. Talking of changes, I believe there is one imminent for Melbourne City. Harry Politidis. We are told he's going to replace Callum Talbot next break in play. You'd imagine that would mean Nathaniel Atkinson moving maybe to right fullback with Politidis wide on the left in a more attacking sense. But we shall see. Sapsford, good hold-up play. Too far in advance of Borello. One in the air by Kleur. here's that change now for Melbourne City, and indeed it is going to be Callum Talbot, who gave away the penalty, of course, in first half stoppage time, and picked up what, like a rather nasty looking whack to the ribs. Maybe that's the reason he's being replaced, or maybe it's tactical for Aurelio Vidmar.
Well, I think it's tactical. He's looking for a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of zest going forward.
So Politidis is indeed on the left-hand side, in front of Aziz Bayic, with Nathaniel Atkinson having switched to right back, position I guess we're most accustomed to seeing him. Certainly where he played for the Socceroos at the World Cup. It's going to be offside against City. Joanna Karaktis, the referee's assistant, on the far touchline. Pantazopoulos. Well defended by Truin. Schreiber. Jugarkovic. Into the final half an hour at Amy Park. Worked wide by Schreiber. Atkinson. Something brewing here perhaps for City. Nicely controlled by Politidis. Here's Bayic looking to float it. Thomas scrambling, and Mehmeti somehow headed away from goal rather than towards it. And Thomas has picked up an injury in the process.
It's good work from Aziz Bayic, and that's a lovely ball. And he's just totally mistimed that, hasn't he? I'm not too sure if he thought someone was going to get a touch in front, but has to hit the target.
Just suffered a blow to the left shoulder, it appears, Lawrence Thomas. That'll be a concern for Alan Stajic, only just back in the team, of course, after a lengthy injury absence. Well, looks as though he can move the shoulder okay. Just needs a bit of medical attention. And a change for the Wanderers. Zach Sapsford leaves the field to be replaced by Marcus Antonsson, who of course scored off the bench in the Sydney derby last week. Like for like change. As the medical team go through the tests on that left shoulder of Lawrence Thomas. Good to go. Maybe Makamedin Manetti just put off by the clutch of players ahead of him. Maybe just took his eye off the ball momentarily.
Well, that's the only thing I can think of, really. Lawrence Thomas wasn't getting anywhere near it, was he? I think maybe he thought there was going to be some impact coming and was bracing, but just lost sight of it, misjudged it. But it was a great opportunity.
At the end of it all, Western Sydney Wanderers still have their one-goal advantage. And looking for a second here, Kleur. Handy ball to Borello on top of the penalty area. Brillante. Back through Pantazopoulos. Kleur having to turn and chase. And then with the arm across, Aziz Bayic commits the foul. Yeah, can't do that, Gabriel. Sorry. Cyprian. Charged down by Borello. Miscue by Clare, though. Manetti, and then helped away by Bonetig. Cyprian wants an option. Politidis provides. Clare feeling perhaps he'd been fouled. Scraps picked up by Ugarkovic, now with Bajic. Ugarkovic got caught on the blind side by Shikluna. Clisby clearly held back. Clare. Rather untidy passage of play from both sides. Cyprian. Truin. Atkinson. Cyprian once again. Politidis. The Wanderers will be quite comfortable with City just playing the ball out between them at the back. Organisational structure is intact at the moment. And that one mopped up by Bonetig. Well, Samuel Cyprian went for a piggyback on Brendan Borello.
Well, stick that in the highlight reel. Good strength from Brendan Borello.
Yep.
Kept his feet strong. Look at that. Halfway down, half squat, back up again.
Shikluna opens it up nicely here for Clisby, who goes for the early delivery. And Kriev at the near post. Plenty of intent from both sides, Macca, but just all too often not the end product.
No, not enough cut and thrust in that final third. I think the shots on target shows that. Just one for the home team, 2 for Western Sydney.
And that's careless by Schreiber. Borello onto it in a flash. Borello again. Nobody there central for the Wanderers. Oh, that really could have gone anywhere, including the back of the net. And Melbourne City about to make a change. James Jego has not been cited since his red card against the Newcastle Jets in round 1 to take the place of Zane Schreiber in midfield. Like for like change again by City.
Well, I'm sure earlier Vidmar would be hoping for James Jego to just be a bit lively in midfield. Try and get on the ball.
Brillante. Clisby. Spent a bit of time at Amy Park as a Melbourne City player, of course, Jack Clisby. Pantasopoulos. Brillante. Clare. They worked up nicely through the thirds here, the Wanderers. Borrello. Sliding challenge by Truid. Clare making himself available from the throw. Cross straight at Cyprian. Up and under for Pantasopoulos to deal with, which he does quite comfortably. Shikluna. Clare helps it on nicely, and there's some room here for Milanovic, and the Wanderers could be in here. 3 in the box. Milanovic to try and tee up Borrello. Eventually they do get a shot off on target, but straight at Beach, and you can't help feeling that might have been more.
Well, he was just too slow on the pass, wasn't he? Borrello was almost pleading for him to release the ball on the penalty spot area. He waited and waited and waited, and by the time he played it, Melbourne City had got back.
Here's Jago. Will they be made to pay for their profligacy, the Wanderers? Kuhn. Bajic. Into the last 20. So far it's been largely rather a pedestrian performance by Melbourne City. They've had just short little spells, one at the outset of the game and then maybe 5 minutes at the start of the second, where they put the Wanderers under sustained pressure. Not an awful lot for Lawrence Thomas to do. Here's Ugarkovic, encouraged to shoot by the home fans. Maybe he should have done. One back by Jago. Atkinson. Out again by Clare. Andreas Kuhn. Thomas to sweep it upfield.
Well, in the pre-match, one of the first things that Aurelio Vidmar mentioned was the break that they've had. I just wonder if he'd seen that being a little bit flat. You could see this coming.
And they've got 20 minutes to save themselves. Bajic. Still capable of doing that. Almost overran that, Aziz Bajic, not once but twice. This is the As Live ladder. If it stays this way, the Wanderers will move up to 7th on the ladder. And City would stay in 5th. Andreas Kuhn. Atkinson. Ugarkovic. Well, for some of the neutrals in the crowd, a big moment is about to arrive. Western Sydney Wanderers marquee man Juan Mata being readied off the bench by Alan Stajic. But not just yet. Here's Bajic. Clisby couldn't reach it. Cohen. Atkinson. Antonsen to try and get the ball out of the danger zone for the red and black. It's another little spell where the Wanderers are pinned in their own half of the pitch. Lawrence Thomas not really called into action seriously as yet. Politidis. Kuhn. That's a better ball. And Mehmeti just trying to leave it for a teammate to run onto. Atkinson. Jago. Yeah, the Wanderers just need to get the foot on the ball at the moment. They're a bit penned in.
Well, I think that might be the idea with Juan Mata coming on. Someone who can just control the tempo, try and get on the ball and get some possession. And they seem to be sitting deeper and deeper, Western Sydney as well. And most players coming back towards the edge of their own box.
The Wanderers are going to make a double change shortly, perhaps to try and halt this Melbourne City momentum. Jago. It's well anticipated by Pantazopoulos. Now they should get the chance to be able to make those changes. And it is Brandon Borello and Bozidar Kraev who are going to be withdrawn. And on in their place, Aidan Hammond and Juan Mata. I think you're right, Macca, that Juan Mata's ability to be able to put his foot on the ball and just give them a bit of relief will be key to them perhaps seeing out this game in which they hold such a narrow advantage at the moment.
Yeah, we've also seen Aidan Hammond be very lively in the games he's been involved in so far this year. Bozidar Kraev just doesn't seem to be his former self.
And a change for Melbourne City as well. Andreas Kuhn is to be withdrawn. And in this place is Kavian Ramadi, another one of the youngsters, still just 17. Got 4 minutes off the bench on debut against Perth, and that was enough time for him to set up Mehdi Mehmeti for his first goal in the competition and round out a 5-0 win in WA against the Glory. Mata there to provide the know-how for the Wanderers, and he's been in plenty of these sorts of situations before.
It looks like he's saying straight away, let's step up a little bit, press up, stop sitting so deep.
His agent, no doubt pleased. Doesn't look it. Thomas to go long. Mata's first involvement was to link up with Milanovic, but City have it back. They almost sneaked through the gap. Still might. Cohen, Mehmeti couldn't get the power.
Well, it was sloppy, wasn't it? The ball to the chest. Milanovic, heavy touch off the chest. All binged back and forth.
Turned over by Hammond, but credit to him. He had the wherewithal to atone for his error. Time just starting to run a little short for Melbourne City. Antonsen and then Mata with the reverse angle ball very nearly setting up the Swede.
Well, as his Bates recovered well there, didn't he? Antonsen did well in the first instance, strong. Got the body there.
Jimmy Jago with a mistake, so throw for Western Sydney Wanderers. You have a couple of home games to come on the back of this against Brisbane and then Wellington. So a chance for them to build some momentum if they can get the 3 points here. Mata offside. Brisbane are Melbourne City's next opponents. in Queensland before Auckland come calling. There's the Wanderers' next 5. Jago. Bajic. Politidis. To try and protect it because he was running straight into Dylan Shikluna. He was then chopped down, and that might well be a card. Yep, for the new boy, Cavan Ramadi.
Well, it's clever play there. Look, he goes across the line of the defender and then just gets his body there and takes the ball away again. Sucked him into the challenge.
Part of the young Socceroos squads. Cavian Romani had a really good season in the NPL Victoria. Just gone, 7 goals and 8 assists. Continuing the good work of the Melbourne City Academy. They continue to churn them out. And at the moment, with so many players on the injury list, they need those kids.
Well, they do, don't they? It's a good job they're coming through. Do we have expected timelines on the injury of those 3 Socceroos, Simon?
Well, the boots, I think, is pretty much done for the season. Lecky a couple of weeks. Tilio not sure. Frustrated for Matt Lecky in particular because he's only just got back to full fitness and has picked up a minor hamstring strain during the week. Here's Kleur after robbing Bajic. And Jack Clisby herring forward. It goes forward for Antonsson. That should do it for Western Sydney Wanderers. Marcus Antonsson, 2 goals in 2 games, both off the bench. And the Wanderers should be home and hose for the victory now.
Well, it was his original mistake, as is Bates, as he tried to bring the ball down. He was off balance. Gabriel Kleur, you'll see here, just nips in front on the Harvey Norman replay. And then it's a case of where do we go with the runners? And Marcus Anderson first didn't know where to go. Gabriel Kleur was just running across the field. He held his ground and then he readjusts himself and says, well, go on, just play it in behind for me. And that's a neat little finish. Across Beach into the far corner, but there's the initial mistake. Off balance, as is Bates. Good awareness from Gabriel Kleur. And in the end, it's a nicely weighted pass and a clinical finish.
Now Gabriel Kleur adds a 3rd assist to his total this season. And Marcus Antonsson has goal number 2. Very much shaping as a super sub for Western Sydney.
Well, he went through a bit of a try spell, didn't he? Now he's got 2 in 2.
His goal against Sydney was his first since New Year's Day. But it's a long way back now with precious little time for Melbourne City. And they've had their moments today, City, but generally have not really been good enough, you'd say, in an attacking sense.
No, they haven't. And the converse for Alan Stadgett, he'll be looking at his team to see out this with a clean sheet. It's been a long time between drinks in the A-League for a clean sheet as well. By my maths, if I'm correct, it's about 19 games. So that'll be here. The next thing he'll be impressing on his team is to make sure that Melbourne City remain scoreless.
Yeah, the Wanderers just won clean sheet in 8 in all competitions so far this season. That came against the Lions in the Australia Cup. Here's Bajic. Still time though for City. Atkinson. Steered away at the near post by Alex Bonatic. Suprian. Angle back by Bajic for Jago. And now Atkinson. Corner ball off Bonatic. Well, you can't fault City's work rate today, that's for sure, but just lack that little bit of quality in front of goal. See if they can find one here. Cohen. Poured away by Thomas. Volleyed back in by Politidis. That wasn't far away. And it's still in play. Might have grazed the frame of the goal, that, from Politidis. Cohen's cross. Bonatic and then Milanovic trying to help the ball on their way. Romani. Cyprian. Across from Politidis. A shot from outside the box. Right, Kai Truitt is charged down by Brillante.
Well, I think you're right, Simon. I think that shot from Politidis just grazed the post and stayed in play.
Western Sydney Wanderers going to make another couple of changes next break in play. Oscar Priestman and Dean Pelikanos standing by. It's going to be a foul and a card against Dylan Chicluna for holding back Jago.
It was actually a good foul, that one. Josh Brillante just underweighting the pass, and they were away. They had numbers. It's a professional foul, but it's a good one as far as Western Sydney are concerned.
First caution of the season for Dylan Chicluna. Free kick to be delivered by Jonathan Cohen. Too flat. Reeled in by Politidis, initially anyway. Chicluna up but not away. Ugarkovic. Romani. And the ball might yet drop for a City player. Loops up in the air. It just will not go over the line for the home side. And Lawrence Thomas drops gratefully on the ball. And Politidis has offered a bit off the bench.
Yeah, he has. I think it was a bit of an air swing on that occasion.
Nicholas Milanovic heads our Paramount Plus player index points so far, at least for today. It's almost a Wanderers clean sweep, with Kai Truitt the only dot of City blue in there. Politidis. Really is a case of now or never for City. Atkinson. Back through Truitt, Cyprian. Bajic. Through the legs of Milanovic. Not a bad cross either. Out by Bonatic. And on the volley wide by Cohen. Here are those changes for the Western Sydney Wanderers. Oscar Priestman and Dean Pelikanos.
Also coming up, number 22, Anthony Pantazopoulos, to replace number 13,
And Anthony Pantazopoulos, Dylan Chicluna, two players to give way. And I'm sure the message is clear from Alan Stajic. What we have, we hold. Anthony Pantazopoulos getting a bit of stick perhaps from the home fans as he wanders off. Back in the city where he played, of course. Oakley Cannons, Brunswick City. Atkinson. It's just not working for City. Bajic. Politidis throwing off Clerc. That early rain that we saw at the start of the game hasn't amounted to much. There's even a bit of sunlight on the far side of the ground. Cohen. Atkinson to send the ball in. It'll reach Bajic on the back post, and it drops on the top of the goal. Rometti got a little part of it, but corner is the verdict, so last touch must have been off the defender. Corner taken quickly. Bajic. Milanovic doing his defensive duty. Now is there a foul there on Cyprian? Klers claiming simulation and wants a card for Samuel Cyprian. This will be interesting.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what VAR say on this.
Curiously, there weren't really too many appeals for a penalty by Melbourne City players. Let's have another look at it. He just catches his toe.
Is there contact there? Or was it knee on knee, maybe? Nope.
VAR's happy. And we're into the second minute of stoppage time. Jago encouraged to shoot by the home fans. Oh, and Thomas at full stretch as it skimmed off the greasy top.
Well, it's been a weird one for Lawrence Thomas today. He hasn't had too much to do, but he has been a little busy at the same time. It's been around the box, but nothing clear-cut that he's had to get a save on.
Well, City are in the last chance saloon. Bajic. Corner off Milanovic. Credit to the Wanderers, they've had to defend at times pretty desperately, but they've done so very well. They're closing in on their first clean sheet of the new A-League season. Bajic with the corner. Very flat. Oh, good save, Thomas. To deny Kai Truid. They just clocked off for a second there, Western Sydney.
Well, at first it looked like a poor corner, didn't it? But the strike got away and it was a great save down to his right.
Cohen. Off the head of Jimmy Jago. That should just about see Alan Stagic's team through. It's been a tough start to life with the Wanderers. But they've got it right this afternoon.
Well, they've defended well. They've defended in numbers. Melbourne City are all told 18 shots now in the match, but only 4 on target. And that shows the desperation.
There could be a cherry on top here for Western Sydney. It's Juan Mata. And Beach at full stretch. Antonsen. Wanderers showing no great ambition to go for the third. Juan Mata very nearly on the score sheet for the first time as an A-League player.
Produced a good save from Patrick Beach.
Into the 5th minute now of stoppage time. And Jonathan Barrero says that will do. A big win on the road for Western Sydney Wanderers. Their first over City at Melbourne at Amy Park since 2015, as they consign the memory of Derby defeat last week and of course that 7-0 loss here last season to history. Nicholas Milanovic with the opener from the penalty spot in first half stoppage time after he'd been fouled by Callum Talbot, and then substitutes Marcus Antonsen, adding a second with just 8 minutes to go from Gabriel Kleur's assist. Already Vidmar's team suffering with injury, not at their best tonight. They missed the chance to go second, and Western Sydney Wanderers can celebrate a job well done. Full time at Amy Park. Melbourne City 0, Western Sydney Wanderers 2. And on balance, I don't think City can have too many complaints about that result, Macca.
No, I don't think so. As you pointed out during the call, Simon, probably not really lethal enough in that front third, not energetic enough. Maybe there has been the long layoff has had an effect on them. A little bit lethargic in their approach. And Western Sydney, when they got their opportunities, they put them away.